Okay, so let's continue from where we left off, right? This is an example following up from the last description I gave about probability and how we can actually use maths to sort of determine which of the two strategies is more influential, sort of has holds more weight in determining which way price goes, right? So right now it's like this is just another example of the exact same thing, right? Same patterns we look for, consolidation, drop, over here, a fake out. You'll take note because you must remember the institutions that influence market movements are aware of the strategies people trade. They are aware of what people look for in the chart. So this is why they might do things like this. It isn't too far-fetched an idea to believe. If you truly understand how the world works and how much influence the world of finance has on political and social life, then you understand that this over here is something quite minor for them to do. So they do it frequently. You can even see a small bit of it here, coming up with this work, taking it back up to this level. Because people after this level would think, yeah, I got it. I've got my levels. It coincides with that level. They faked out the cycles I'm in, and then they come back and they take you out as well. Especially if your stop is below here. But anyway, that's a passing note, right? So drop, consolidation, and the final drop here. And you can see something interesting here: extreme, MTP, and an MLV of a spike. You see what I mean? But over here it succeeded. But now imagine you had aimed for that over here. Extreme, MTP, MLV. You get the same result. You'd have succeeded, right? But then what happens over here? And this is my question to you. I'd like you guys to go out and do some analysis on this. What chart is this? It's the GBP USD. This is the exact same chart. And look here, what do we have here? Another extreme MTP MLV, right? And it coincides with this period here of consolidation is the same thing as this here, right? So we can see how it all actually played out properly. But that's beside the point. The point I was trying to make is about probability, right? So as much as we can find signals like this that go hand in hand with what we want, at the end of the day, pure price always wins. Use BBMA, use it to your advantage, but just always be aware that it isn't the king. It isn't the most elemental factor in all of this. I hope that makes sense. I hope that was coherent. But anyway, that's the whole point of this meeting. I'm just here running through ideas, responding and stuff. It's not a directed video, it's just me talking. These are the kind of videos I want to make because this is how I can most easily incorporate the stuff you guys give me to actually show you using your own content and actual interaction, um, how it all comes together. But that's the end of that, right? Now, this feeds back into the same point I made, right? That generally BBMA pays most of its attention to the reversals. That's what the strategy, like its sister, the MMM, focuses on. However, it's important to note that despite the BBMA focusing primarily on this, it isn't the king of all BBMA setups. I've mentioned before that there are people who trade only certain setups, i.e. Extreme, CSD, CSM, or more commonly MLV. It is generally better to do things this way. It hones you into an expert on your setup of choice, right? Due to the CBR method focusing primarily on breakouts, we need from the BBMA only its ability in confirming retests, which occur after breakouts. This is why I refer to it at this level as only an assistant tool to our analysis. So this basically surmises what I was trying to say to you in the previous sort of slide. What the basic idea I was trying to put across is that the MOV setup isn't the once you begin to trade according to the market instincts, according to price action, it loses its relevance as the most essential thing to look at, unlike before. Now it becomes second priority. The thing we most focus on the most are CSDs and CSM retests because those are the setups that best coincide with breakouts. Because when we trade breakouts, we are looking for retests. So by having that analysis from the five MA high and low can actually be really useful. You know what I mean? That's where it can really be useful. But as I demonstrated, MLVs also do show up in the relevant places. However, to put emphasis on them is not like the wisest thing to do, just as a piece of advice, right? Now, do note that the classic MLV setup is also useful for the CBR. However, this is only true if your method of trading breakouts is focused on position trading. This is really simple to understand. Now, there are two schools of trading breakouts. Obviously, we analyze the movement. However, now, let's say we've already determined the direction we want, and based on our previous analysis, the direction we want is to the low, right? So once we've determined that, all of the analysis we do in here will be based on this bias, our bias being to the low. So I can now take two approaches when deciding to trade this signal. I can either decide that no, I want to play it safe, I want to wait until it's fully confirmed. Then I will use this support, which will now be the resistance, as my confirmation, right? So that's the strategy I most prefer because it's usually the safest. And for me personally, for my own personal trading and my own sort of recording of trades, so I could quantify them, the pattern that I saw arise the most is that this worked for me for my particular type of trading, and it does for many other people. However, don't be a copy and paste trader. Make sure that you record every single trade you take. You record the entry, the exit, the high, the low. What did you want to happen? What actually happened? The loss. Every single thing that's relevant that you can record about the trades you take. And that way, that's the only way that you will truly know which is best for me, right? So that's one method of trading breakouts. The second method would be to trade what I call position trading, right? This here. Um, it's where you know that your bias is to the low, but instead of waiting for a breakout here before you trade it, you decide that by the time it hits this level, I'm gonna enter. So this is where you might find that, okay, on the daily the chart looks like this, but when we take it down to maybe the H4, the H1, you find that within that structure you actually have your MOV. Then you're trading the same setup, right? The same basic MOV or CBR drops all the way down to here, at which point you then maybe be taking your profits and then reevaluating what you still think about the position. After which you could then re-enter again when it does break out for more benefits. And you'll find that the setup isn't only exclusive to here, it also appears here as well at the breakout point. So MOV does show up, it's just that when I'm teaching people in the lower groups, I emphasize MOV a lot. So I'm just trying to really peel that back now because it can impose a certain dichotomy of how we view the charts, and then that can hinder the type of analysis we do and how we approach the charts visually. Because I do know it's more than just words or thoughts. Thoughts play a huge role when it comes to trading. How you see the charts, the sort of words that you associate to the things you see on the charts, the ideas that you associate mentally with the things you see on the charts plays a massive role. And that's why you always see this word of psychology being thrown around by folks traders. Psychology matters, psychology matters. But now they say it as a buzzword. Once you go really deep into it, you realize that it plays a huge role. So that's why I'm putting so much emphasis on this. MOV, not king, but it works. Okay, so I also got a chart from James, who sent me this, showed me a position he took where he sold, and I really like this, especially because it highlights something I like here. We had the retest, but immediately after it failed to make any higher highs, higher lows, it just sank. It straight down just sank below this point. And it leaves us at a key position here, right? You see this entire zone over here. Just pay attention to this zone, because remember what I told you. To me, a new trend isn't confirmed until it can surpass the previous highest peak. So if we're in a downtrend here and then all of a sudden in an uptrend, I won't really be confirmed. I mean, let me put it differently. The more of the higher highs and higher low levels, all of the retracement levels, the more of them that it passes on its ascent upwards, the stronger I consider the trends would be, right? So that's what I'm trying to allude to here. So I like that here, we were at this key point. Here's one level we can mark out here, and we can see it actually interacted with that. It's actually the level that it interacted with the most, which ended up causing it to reverse back down. So always pay attention to these. Don't think that just because the trend is past is no. And I know you guys know this, but whether you know something or not, when you're teaching people, it's better to repeat things over and over and over. It really sticks in the brain. Even the things that you don't hear consciously, if they're repeated constantly over and over and over, you end up remembering them. So I really like this, and I actually have an outcome, right? Um, where we can see to the right. Just pay attention. You see over here. Hold up. Over here, this is where this trade took place, right? The setup. This is it here, and we can see that same level where it interacted here, and where actually took the trade, which was where over here, took the trade over here, and look how beautifully it turned out. Just look at that. And it actually came down to retest another level which I had already plotted. So that was just beautiful. See what I mean? So I really like that. But then now look at this trend, right? This is the new trend, right? And that's what I'm trying to highlight here. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, right? Lower low. But where's the lower low? There is none. It retraced and immediately made a higher low, but it still also hasn't even surpassed this level. So I already considered this entire a consolidation, right? So when this happens to me, it's very significant because not only is it aligning with something on a higher time frame, which I plotted, but it's also aligning with the immediate action on the charts, which I love to look for. That sort of same thing I told you, it failed to make a lower low, now it's stagnating. Excuse me, my recording got disturbed, just got called aside. So let me just start over with the point I was making that if we are in a downtrend like this, as soon as it fails to continue that trend, I will create the parameters within the trend itself, as in based on the actual levels of the trend itself. But I will also consider I will also consider the levels of the trend in which the consolidation is occurring within. So I will look at this trend here for key points to which it will react to, such as here and here, over here, that would be here and here, to sort of see the smaller boundaries of the trend and also the larger boundaries of the trend. Just keep note of that. So we see a good example of that here. And generally, it's better if we have a huge consolidation and then within that consolidation, we find an even smaller one. It's better to, while analyzing this, to also hone in on this one here, because it'll also determine whether it actually goes out to reach to those boundaries. And we see that in play a lot of times. Just like here, same thing. We can even plot it over here and plot it over there. We could have guessed, would it have gone up or would it have gone down? We would have done the relevance analysis. And what do we see? It actually went up to this level. So now your assignment is just to sort of discover how did this turn out. And James, please just tell me how this actually turned out, because I took the screenshot yesterday and you sent me this one, I think, a few days back, the day before yesterday. But I think it was the last time we had the meeting. So yeah. Now, the same can be said of James trading as that which I said about Gerald. Sticking to a simple set of principles is always king. And here we see how it worked out. I like this trade especially because of how it also aligned with the triangle consolidation on the higher TFs, which is still getting ever tighter. Right now we what did I write here? Right now we are hopeful of a breakout. Let's keep our eyes open for what it brings. Just like I asked, we had a breakout out here. I actually plotted this line this red line that starts here, right, and ends here. I actually plotted this line on the higher time frames before the chart even came to this, so it was still moving up from here, and it hadn't even reached here, but it actually reacted perfectly, and we are seeing the product of that, right, along with also this line here. So it's getting ever tighter, this trend here. Um, Also adding in this sort of tighter period of consolidation within this larger triangle, right? So we have this period within it, which was very helpful. It was tradable. On the lower time frames, there might be some sort of opportunity that happened here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I think this is the lowest time frame. Just refer to me. I can't. Oh, it's the H1. Okay, so I don't think there might have been much of an opportunity there. But what I would be looking for now is this. So please just let me know how it turned out. Euro USD H1. So I just want to say thanks for watching, and repeat this as many times as pleases you over and over again. Take out a book when you're watching my videos, please. Take out a book, designate a separate book, take it out and take notes of all of the things that bother you, whether it's 3 things, whether it's 50 things, I don't care. You need to show me that list so I can help you. Otherwise, you will never progress. That is absolutely essential, guys. No matter how tiny or dumb seeming something is, ask me. Just, just come to me and I'll help you out. So let's continue this conversation then in the group. I think now it's already 8:38 as I'm recording this, so I've had many problems with recording this, so it's 8:38, so therefore the meeting will be starting later, I guess 9, so we can even push it further to 11. But just continue this conversation in the group, and we can then afterwards move further.